back in the studio with my homies, my hoes.
We love it. We love it.
Red to my right, Beige directly across from me.
Staring in each other's eyes right now.
Yeah. He's got a new...
Like old times.
A new caterpillar crawling across the upper lip there. It's looking pretty fresh.
Yeah. 70s style.
I didn't want to tell you this, but it looks amazing. I was afraid that it would go to your head, but I think it's good for you to know.
Oh, I know it looks good, dude.
How did it feel on your neck when he gave you a hug this morning?
I mean, it was weird. It was it was legit caress. It wasn't like a bro hug. It was like soft. It was like I thought it was a lady at first. I didn't see.
It's kind of like
it's coming up.
When I saw your stash, I couldn't help but be sultry. I mean, I was just, and we're glad to have you back in the studio with us. We've been away for a while, and we won't go into this too much, but we have family traumas and issues just like our listeners. And one of the reasons that we started the show is because it brings us reprieve from those things. That's how our friendship started. We've known each other for a long time and worked in a difficult line of work that we were allowed to kind of escape, and we look forward to our lunches sometimes more than work itself. And that's because we're all so pleasant to be around and we like each other so much.
That's what we've been told.
Heroes
of
humility, 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 humility. This is not a charade. This is real. These words you are about to hear are coming from real humans on a mission to save the human race from itself. Buckle up while these delusional heroes of humility, aka hoes, attempt to right the wrongs in everyday human behavior.
So I had some issues with a family member, and she's on the mend. I haven't left her side, so that's been made it difficult to get into the studio. And I know each of you have been busy. It's nice to be back, and we missed you. We missed trying to make people laugh and hopefully giving them some reprieve. I know there's lots to listen to out there, and our show is still evolving, but we will be moving to video eventually. That's just kind of taking a back burner, so this is just going to be strictly audio for now. Catch us on YouTube. Social media pages just include right now Instagram, and
we took some updated pics before the show, so those will be posted.
Those will be posted, and we have Beige was flexing in them, but
no, I don't flex. This is just natural. This is a non-flex. Yeah, this is a resting pose.
Resting muscles.
This is what jealousy sounds like, ladies and gentlemen.
No, not at all, man. I'm proud of you. No, I know you've really been hitting it hard, and you look great. We're all feeling good, avoiding the flu, and trying to do our best.
Yeah, it's going around, man. It's been making the rounds.
Yeah, you got to want it. I think the best thing to do is get your vitamin D from the sun as much as you can. I don't think it's as good in a pill form. And then get some C, get a grapefruit, drink some lemon juice. I think that's a good help. We cover a lot of stuff in here that's going to help you with life. You don't have to take notes, but we'll repeat stuff sometimes that you've heard in other shows only because some of the content is that good.
It's like a after school special.
Yeah.
Like, back in the day that Star would...
The more you know.
The more you know, the more you know.
The hose, the more you know on the hose. You guys doing all right? Nothing dramatic. I know we've kind of talked offline, and you guys have helped me through some things, and our camaraderie has helped me get through some of that. Anything else that you want to share with the listening audience?
Unfortunately, it seems like it's a time in life where we're in our 40s, maybe mid 40s, and if you have parents that are still around, they're getting older, and it just seems like a phase of life. Even coworkers at work have, voiced their concerns and are dealing with parents that are getting a little older.
Yeah, I always think I might be actually getting more pristine or more healthy, but the truth is that most of the way I live my life is through a constant state of delusion that keeps me grounded in an ethereal place that I feel like I'm doing better than I am. But the truth is, people around me, they're not going to have that same delusion, and they really are being affected by these health issues. So I've had to come back to reality, and what I realized is that obviously the most valuable thing we have in life is time. You want to make the best of it with your family, with how you take care of yourself, and that's my soapbox I'm on right now, because it's always been a thing for me to try to take good care of myself, but it's made even more poignant when you see your loved ones struggling through issues sometimes that you think could have been avoided.
Well, and that's the natural course of life, right? Like you start off and you're expected, as a kid, somebody's taking care of you, and then you become an adult. And then hopefully, if everything goes accordingly, you're at a point in your life where maybe nobody's taking care of you and you're not taking care of anybody. And then you have kids. And then eventually you get to a point where now you're taking care of your parents. And I think that's where a lot of people, just the progression of life for a lot of people. And like you said, Red, I think we're at that age right now where once you start having to take care of a parent or an older relative, you really start to, because I think we're all delusional and sin. We're in our mid 40s, but there's sometimes I'm like, I still look at myself as like I'm in my 20s.
I do. Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm in my 20s, that's like, for a lot of us, that's like ideal version of beige, or ideal version of red is like early mid 20s red. So we all want to believe that we're still that person. But when your parents get older or older relatives or what have you, and it's kind of, it's a reflection also on you that, hey, you're not 20 years old yourself anymore.
Yeah, it makes you think of your mortality. Makes you think about your time. And I've been in some of these places where my mom has gotten help, and sometimes that's not the right word for what she's gotten. And it's a shame because you wonder what allows somebody to get so fatigued where they compromise what would have been any moral compass they had before they went into this profession, where they're doing the most sacred work that I think exists in the world, is taking care of human beings that are having problems. And some people have just lost their humanity, and you see that they no longer care, or maybe they didn't, but there are other people that you see. And I've tried to look into people's eyes because you try to understand people when you talk to them, and that's obviously where you look. It's like the window to your soul, right? And sometimes I just can't figure out. Obviously, they're a product of their history and everything they've learned up to that point. But I've seen some really dark things, but I've also seen some amazing things. People that are capable of being almost angelic. Also, when your family's hurting and you're finding issues, just being an advocate for them that you don't think anybody should have to encounter, you realize that sometimes just common decency, you start to really appreciate it, because some people that seem to really care will do things above and beyond, but then you get used to just people doing the bare minimum, and that's good. They're overworked, and some people just don't have the capacity for the kind of empathy and kindness that I think is required in that line of work.
I think we take for granted, like you said, because we are younger, and at this point in our age, we can, if we need to get up and go to the store, we just hop down, run down the stairs, and jump in a car and just, jump from our car and go to the store, no problem. But when you got elderly parents or you get older, you can't just hop out of bed, and you may need help down the stairs, and then it's a struggle. You can't drive at night type of things. You realize like, oh man, if you've ever had a loved one that say like goes for a surgery and they're down for a couple weeks and you got to take care of them, you realize like if you got to help them up every time just to get up out of bed, and then if they have to use the restroom or something, like that's a challenge. And I'll tell you right now, I'll put it up, I am a horrible nurse. Like if my wife gets sick, she knows like, oh man, I almost want to hire somebody to come in and help, because it's rough, man. I'm a horrible patient. I'm the biggest baby when it comes to being sick. I can't handle it. There's a lot of people out there that they don't look like they're tough or whatever, but they're a hell of a lot tougher than me when it comes to being sick. I am a baby when it comes to that. I agree with you 1,000% on that.
Especially like stomach flu and stuff like that. Like if that happens to me, dude, I'm just like, I'm done.
I almost had like just a brushing of a cold about a few weeks ago, and I thought, oh no, this is it, man.
Yeah.
Like
it's the end for Pierce, dude. This is the end of the road.
What is this foreign feeling that I've never, what is this renegade evil that's running into my body?
Yeah, what is this running down my nose?
Yeah, I didn't know. I looked at it. I was like, I thought I'm seriously not going to make it. And I even started eating more grapefruit. I eat grapefruit every other day because there's a certain, I think it's called red, I can't remember the name, but there's one that you can research this online. There's one that has slightly more nutrients than the others. And so that's the one I eat. Some of these red grapefruit gets really big. So you could, just having one in a sitting is like probably lasts you 2 days. So I'll eat it outside. And we've talked about this before, and I'll go skin so that I can get as much vitamin D while I'm synthesizing vitamin C from the fruit. And
smear it on your skin.
I smear it all over and I eat it. I even drop a few juice droplets into my eyes. And I think I'll just do this more. But sometimes no matter what you do,
you want your blood to basically turn into grapefruit juice.
Yes. Like if you squeezed me, you know,
like a cow. Hey.
You're
like you did earlier, the caress, like a caress.
We're close in the studio sometimes. I try to do everything I think that'll prevent me from getting ill, and sometimes you just get ill, and this is not a usual experience for me. I feel like I can will it and I can do all the right things, but as you get older, you find out sometimes no matter how much you run or how much you work out or how much coconut oil you put in your hair, something's going to go sideways.
Father Time's undefeated.
Right.
Let me ask you guys this. Can you tell, like, I know for me, I have a sinus. Every year I usually get some sort of sinus infection. It's like once a year. It's something that lays me up. But I can feel like a tickle in my sinuses. I can't even, it's hard to explain, but I could feel like that, or a tickle in your throat. Do you then like, I know for me, I'm going to try to battle it by taking what do they call it? Emergency or
airborne.
Like, an airborne or something like that, or trying to drink more orange juice or something to. Because for me, the sinus thing, it just turns into sinus pressure. You can't see, and you're down for like a day, and then you're coughing up stuff. It sucks. But I try to, and I think probably 9 times out of 10 it probably doesn't work. But
me, I just kind of like bring it on. Bring on the illness, because you know you're going to get sick. And if you try to fight it off, it's just not going to happen. So it's like, bring it on. Let me get sick. I'm going to be a baby and cry about how I'm dying. But then I'll be immune, hopefully for a year or two afterwards.
After you get better, you do feel like, I went running about a week after. I think you're supposed to give it like a week until your symptoms subside, because, I had a guy that came to the office. We had a get together, and he was, he might listen. I hope he doesn't take this hard, but he, he came in and he said, well, I haven't had any symptoms for a few days. And he talked to the medical professional who said, that's all right after 24 hours if you don't have a fever. And I said, well, let's not play too fast and loose with the rules of when you last had a symptom, since we're all going to be sitting in a space together. I've got to go be around my mom who's really struggling. So I just thought,
if you're at like 24 hours and 15 minutes, like is that like a clear cutoff? Like, 24 hours, all right, you're good. Like, is there a clear line here?
Right. So I asked somebody at the hospital, and they said, well, 7 days is probably the best.
Wow, that's a big difference.
Yeah. So you can get different answers. And, you were talking about a tickle. I think there's a couple of things you can do, especially during the time of year when you think there might be an issue. I know honey incorporated into your diet on a regular basis can have some issues for some people if you get too much sugar. But if you're getting sugar through the ways that nature intended, through
it's fruit, like a natural sugar.
Yeah, you're much better off. Your body knows how to synthesize it and deal with it. Some sugar is good for you, obviously. And so I put a little honey in my oat bran every morning. And I did notice which I never get allergies, but when I stopped doing that one year, I was getting some allergies right around spring. And so I make sure I do that. I also make sure that when I start to feel sick, which is rare, I just saturate my body with everything I can think of that I think is good for me. I try to feed my body, and I try to just do stuff that eliminates stress. So like I try to sleep more. I try to watch funny stuff. Yeah, I stay away from beige and the stress. And I just start feeling good. And that's huge, man. When you're stressed, honey, it works, especially if you're getting local honey.
So I have a few things to add to this. Whenever I get really sick and I'm jacked, have you ever seen the movie Revenant with Leonardo DiCaprio, where he gets attacked by a bear?
Yes.
I always put myself in like Leonardo, like I'm recovering, like I'm almost on the verge of death, and I'm like, it's my battle to that whole movie is basically about how he's recovering from that encounter with the bear, and how he, like that's how I project myself when I'm sick. I'm like, I'm building myself up again. You know, I'm
I know what
battling
you mean.
through this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've done that with-
that kind of warrior mindset that you have to have.
And I think that we have some of that in common, and I would include Red because I see it in our communications, but I start to, I'll hear the Rocky music play a little bit in the back of my head when I start to get
like
sick.
you're getting up off the mat.
Yeah,
Eye of the Tiger.
you know,
Like Apollo just knocked you out.
Yeah, which one is this from? Okay, see if you can tell which one this is. And this is not a popular one. I'll give you a hint.
Tommy Morrison.
Listen up, hang on.
Tommy Gunn.
Hey, you knocked him down. Why don't you try knocking me down?
That's the Tommy Gunn,
Yeah,
right?
damn it. You get
I just stole your thunder. I knew when you said it was not popular. I was like, yeah, Tommy
Dude.
Gunn, dude. That's Tommy Gunn.
Wow, dude.
That was impressive.
But I will
called
say-
it before you even said it.
But I will say, since I've started doing this, I don't call it a diet because diet's usually like a temporary thing, but just a different way that I eat. I do the low carb lifestyle, eliminate a lot of sugar. Some people keto, whatever. But I have noticed that I don't get sick nearly as much as I used to, dude. Every year I would get, right around this time of year, actually, I get like a horrible cold or even like stomach flu. I think I brought up in a previous episode how I get like strep throat all the time as a kid. Dude, I've been doing this for going on 2 years now. I legit don't think I've actually been like really, really sick since I've started doing this.
You've also been hiking a lot more. And I think that one of the things that we just take for granted is that vitamin D is not really a vitamin. Your body has to participate in the construction and making in the best form possible of vitamin D. So it's really more of a hormone. And when you go outside and you're getting sun on the regular, it's basically making you invincible in some ways in your cells.
It's giving you eagle powers.
It gives you eagle powers. And I just go out there and I'll try to increase the surface area on my body for the making of vitamin D.
Full nude hike.
Full, dude. And you know what?
You gotta get
it's
your pee needs the vitamin D, huh?
if it increases the surface
D needs
area
the D.
for the construction of vitamin D. I mean, yeah. How do you think leaves on a tree work?
Yeah.
It's because there's a ton of leaves.
Why do you think cavemen were super healthy?
Why do
they
you
walk
think-
around
Yeah. And
getting vitamin D
some
on their peens.
some people's leaves are bigger than others. So you just kind of, I don't mean to use this as a platform to brag about my leaves, but I'm just saying,
Yeah. You're saying you have like a banana leaf down there.
I'm just saying I don't have a lot of tan lines. I don't
gotcha.
really.
Oh,
Now I did a little while.
Have the neighbors complained?
No, I think I've noticed a lot of blinds open lately.
Oh,
like
a lot of
a
clapping.
second story. Yeah, there's neighbors and I have probably forged some kind of unspoken understanding, I think. But I'm at the end of a green belt, so hopefully that helps. I don't really have too many people that can look back there. But I did have, not to get off subject too much here, but in that backyard, man, I developed an unhealthy hatred towards one of God's creatures, and I feel bad about it, and I got to tell you guys about it because it's been bothering me. There's a passion of malice that has evolved in my heart like an evil seed towards this cat, and it's a wild cat. Now, unfortunately,
Is it like a domestic cat or like
it
a
is.
feral cat?
It's a domestic
Like
cat.
Okay.
It's somebody's punk ass cat. And this cat,
See, I don't. Oh, time out. Like, I don't get that. Okay, that's your cat. Why is he outside all the time?
Right.
Like, if that's your cat, that's not your cat anymore.
yeah.
Like now, that's just the neighborhood cat.
Yeah.
That's everyone's cat,
Yeah.
and we can.
That
we
cat
can,
is a little
you know,
bitch, dude.
Yeah.
And so what it does is it comes up onto the wall in my, now this is the dumbest thing ever. Okay. I'll admit I participate in a problem that created this. When they put our backyard together, I saw a picture of a Zen garden. I thought, that'd be cool, right? You know, have you seen like a
Yeah.
Zen garden where you make
Well,
lines
you talked
in
about
sand and stuff?
reducing your stress, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Very. Yeah.
So I had a Zen. It's very Zen back there, and there's like there's a trellis that holds some vines, and behind that I have like a Zen area. So naturally, what happened is this Zen garden has created
Litter
a
box.
perfect litter box for these damn cat, and it's ridiculous.
Zen is
Just
interrupted.
some deuces in the Zen garden.
And I don't know what they do in China or Japan where maybe they actually have these, but they must have snipers posted to prevent cats.
Oh, I
from,
think they have catapults.
Ooh, that's how they got the
That's
word
how they got the
catapult.
word. Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
I've thought about catapulting this cat right out of my yard. So I have cameras back there. And now when I see this thing, I just have this overwhelming feeling of like the dark side taking me over, because I go out there and I try to scare this cat. And I've researched things. You can put like vinegar and do all kinds of weird stuff, but you have to reapply it. And then this cat brings me offerings like he thinks we're pals or buddies.
He's trying to mate.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he wants to mate, but unless he's seen me out there, in my...
Yeah, in the
Vitamin
nude,
D,
right? Yeah,
vitamin
getting some
D
vitamin
outfit.
D.
He knows a good thing when he sees it. All creatures understand sexuality. But the thing is that he or she, I don't know, I haven't checked. He goes back there and he just thinks he's the king of the Zen garden.
Ooh.
So I've put vinegar in there and stuff, and now I've just put a bunch of these tiny little white rocks all over it. So now now I'm willing to do just about anything.
Have you had a face-to-face interaction with this cat? Have you hissed at him?
Yeah, we did make eye contact one time.
Yeah.
And he could see the anger.
You were not
the rage.
happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he still thinks we're pals. So he brought me like some offerings. So he brought me like half of a dead bird one day. And
That's an olive branch, dude.
yeah, he extended an olive branch, which I'm going to break in front of his face and punch him. So I feel bad. And I've never had this much hatred towards another living creature.
Get a dog. Get a dog, dude. Have the dog chase him out.
I've just had so many evil
Ooh,
thoughts.
that would be a good business, like a rent-a-dog. Because you don't want a dog like permanent.
That's a good idea.
But like you would maybe dog sit for a weekend just to scare the cat straight.
You
Be
know
like,
what?
hey, don't come around here. There's a dog here.
This is reminiscent of your genius that
dude.
came out in the very beginning of our podcast when you came up with poop shoes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty good. Dude.
Yeah.
I like this. So you could get a dog.
You could get a dog just to make an impression on this
Right.
cat.
right.
Like F around and find
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
kitty cat.
Yeah. See what happens.
See what happens
Yeah.
here. I got this dog, You
I
got to
like
make
that.
sure it's a menacing dog, though.
Right.
Don't get like a Shih
poodle.
Tzu or something, or
Yeah.
a poodle,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So
man.
you get a dog, you kind of make an impression, and then the cat's scared straight. He's not coming around again.
right. A couple of good scares. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
is all
just
it
a
would
couple
take.
good scares, dude.
I'm just tired of this cat and I just hate that he doesn't understand our relationship the same way he thinks we're playing a game. And then I went out there and I didn't throw rocks at him, but
Did he tell him, you think this is a game?
I said,
You think this is an effing game?
yeah, are you going into my Zen garden, dude? I said, so I took took these little tiny rocks and I kind of threw them off to the side of where the cat was, because a bunch of them. And I thought, well, maybe that'll scare. And I think he thought we were maybe playing a game.
Oh, so
you wanna
he
stick
kind of like
rocks.
threw some at you.
Yeah,
I want to play hopscotch.
He's throwing shade at me. I'm throwing shade at him.
Yeah.
He's dropping a deuce in your Zen card.
Just be careful, because you might end up on the Ring app or the community, the Nextdoor app. Or
I'm afraid to
something.
look at my own cameras because I think I would see the most maddening behavior, like
Yeah.
the weirdest stuff I'm doing back there, especially because I'm in the nude half the time.
Somebody will be complaining about you. Did you see this guy throwing rocks at this poor little kitty cat?
But they're not even going to see the cat. They're just going to see me throwing rocks back there without any target
Yeah,
in the nude.
just think you're just like a crazy guy.
with grapefruit running down my face and looks like I'm like foaming at the mouth.
Well, dude-
I know exactly what you guys mean. We have a feral cat as well, and I mean, I will say I have a dog, but it would be because we know that there's some cat people out there, and they love their cats, right? But it would be the same thing if you're a dog person like I am, and your neighborhood dog person's dog takes a deuce in your yard, and they don't pick it up. You'd just be just as peeved. Because we have a feral cat that runs the neighborhood and does the same thing in a rock yard. It drives me nuts. The yard gets done, they rake any gravel or anything. It's got the rake lines in it, and then you see this pyramid of gathered rocks, and you're like, son of a bitch. And there's that inevitable ammonia smell.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not my Zen garden, but I see how it can break up
Your
Mr.
Zen,
Miyagi.
yeah.
Yeah, I got a lot going on back
Yeah,
there.
it's hard to
the hell?
have Zen when there's a cat deuce right there,
It's also hard to have Zen when there's just pure evil in your heart,
Right.
Which I don't like that, dude.
Yeah.
I'm all about harmony and
Right.
letting things go. But
Well, I have an admission, a cat story here.
Ooh,
So
it's
we're
all
going to get
coming
into
out.
this, actually,
Yeah.
because it's just,
on another special episode about cats and Heroes of Mill.
yeah, this just jogged my memory. So I was in my early 20s, graduated college, and I'm living back home with my mom for a little while before I start my career that I'm in now. kind of in limbo
I'm
going to be doing.
Haven't hit puberty yet.
I had this mustache.
Yeah,
when I
I'm
was
sure
about
he
10.
had that mustache.
So I'm at my mom's house, and she has a few dogs. So she has this little doggy door in her house. And there's this neighborhood cat, same situation. Just this alley cat thinks he runs the place, right? You know?
Bastard.
And he would come over and he would use the doggy door to get into my mom's house. Random cat going into my mom's house. And the dogs would go crazy and knock stuff. Like, it would just be chaos. And this cat would come in.
Cat burglar.
So basically, my mom is like, hey, I need you to take care of this cat.
Oh, and what did she mean by that?
By all means necessary.
Wow.
You know, it was kind of like a mob hit.
Wow.
I think it was kind of like
she
a mob
knew when
hit.
she was
Yeah.
asking you what she...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, this is,
Wow.
this guy,
I need you to take care of this
just take care of it.
When you
know,
say that
we
to
speak in
Beige,
code, you
yeah.
know? So this cat comes in and she has these dog carriers, you know, like the little crates that you carry pets in. Somehow I was able to wrangle this cat into this crate.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, I'm not going to kill this cat or anything. But if I just leave the cat, then it's just going to keep coming back into the house.
Right.
So I got the cat in this crate. I drove about 25 miles down the road and I let the cat out.
Wow, dude. That's some
Yeah.
that's some diabolical
Yeah.
shit right there.
Sorry. And she said, take care of it, dude. You know?
Wow. Do you
Yeah.
ever feel remorse or bad?
In my eyes, the cat found a nice family.
Okay.
He was searching anyways, right? I mean,
Yeah, he was searching for a nice family. I just relocated him and said, hey, try this neighborhood.
yeah, he was just needed a ride. He was,
Now you didn't. Was it in like a remote area or was
No, it was in like an actual neighborhood.
And was it a good neighborhood? Like a good?
Yeah, I would
neighborhood,
say
or-
middle class neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was
All right.
probably better than his.
So-
and they probably had doggy doors. And he was
If during that time you lived in that neighborhood and you just had a random cat that would start coming into your
Right.
house,
You
that's
turned
probably
desperate.
that was probably my
Well,
fault.
you,
I
uh,
apologize for that.
You don't take if you take a cat from a doggy door neighborhood to a non-doggy door neighborhood, it is a step down in a little bit. So he
Yeah.
probably didn't have as good of a life, but you also tried to bring balance
Right.
to the force.
Like in
'cause
hindsight, I probably could have taken it to the Humane Society. Might have been a better option,
more mature.
more mature. But you know, I'm in my early 20s, and I'm just
Right.
like, you know, I'm the fixer,
Yeah.
quote unquote.
Haven't got any
Fixer.
pubes yet. And you're just
Yeah.
out there doing crazy shit. That's crazy, man. I would, you know what?
Yeah.
Yeah. that's-
Sorry. I mean, but in my mind, the cat lived a good life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, lots of catnip,
Yeah.
lots
yeah.
of
maybe there was
Found
playing
a
with
good
playing
home.
with little balls of yarn.
There's probably a little girl that saw this cat and was like, "This was now her
Yeah.
pet." So that's
Right. So I probably made somebody's whole life.
That's the way I think.
basically.
Please know that on Heroes of Humility, we do not condone the brutal acts of antisocial behavior against domesticated cats. This was probably an evil spawn cat.
Well, I'm just saying, learn from my experience. Don't do that.
Right, that's a
Yeah.
bad thing.
Don't
Yeah,
pull
that's a
beige.
good. That you know what? Actually, you're kind of a hero, even more than normal, because you're pointing out, look, this is what I did, so it's shameful. So
Right.
you have to share your shame with people.
Because I think in your mind, you might get there where you're like, I'm gonna.
right, you're helping.
I
me
would like
too.
to scoop up this cat and relocate him potentially,
well,
right?
That brings up a good point for this show, right? What do you do? Like, if you, in hindsight, now that you're adult, and say you think this cat belongs to obviously probably one of your neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
Do you? I mean, what's the?
But
maybe this is where the listeners can maybe come in and say, hey, what's the proper etiquette? Because by nature, a cat,
Interesting.
that's what a cat does, is it roams around, especially in the night hours, and that's what it does, right? Do you knock on your neighbor's door and try to find, hey, who's the owner of the cat? Could you, like, how do you tell your cat?
But is it on the
go to
neighbor?
the Zen yard.
Is it on the neighbor? If this is your cat and you actually consider this to be your cat, put a collar on it, right? Put a collar on this cat. Don't just have some random cat, because it's a naked cat. No collar. I don't know if it's somebody's cat. I mean, these cats breed all the time, and there's just some cats that they're just born in the wild. You know what I mean? They're just a feral cat to begin with.
I think I know a couple people that have cats, and the people I know who have cats don't let their cats just wander the streets. like a vagrant. So I profiled in my mind what kind of owner of this cat, what the DNA of this person might be like. And I have a feeling that they are suffering from some of the things that are a burden on society already.
Well, and I have another cat story too, which is crazy. I'm like, how the hell do I have 2 cat stories?
Yeah,
but I have
amazing.
2 cat stories. So I have a cat now, and his name is Cheese. Right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my boy Cheese. And
I didn't know you. Maybe I did, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
I just knew you had a dog.
so he got out one night through our doggy door in our house. He just decided, I'm making a break for it.
Okay.
He's a house
For a better
cat.
life.
I heard that story about Beige in his younger days. I'm out of this one.
Yeah.
He's a house cat, but I guess he just got a wild hair. He's like,
Yeah.
screw this. I'm out of here.
Right.
And goes out the doggy door. Legit was gone for like 5 days.
Wow.
Thought he was done.
Yeah.
I was afraid I was going to be driving and I'd see him like squished on the side of the road or
Right,
something.
with a little stick and a handkerchief.
Yeah,
tied
with
around
a
the end.
with a bandana. And And one evening, it's like 11 o'clock at night. I'm in the living room and I'm watching TV. And I turn around to go into the kitchen. And as I turn around, Cheese is laying on the floor in the kitchen.
Wow.
He just spent a week out in the wild and then found his way back home and apparently crawled back through the doggy door
Wow. I wonder.
and came home and just ended up home.
I wonder what he saw during that. What did he
Dude, I don't
do?
know, but I thought about writing a book, The Adventures
Yeah,
of Cheese or
right?
something, be like,
Yeah.
this is what happened, I'm sure he's a cat, he's a boy, he probably,
Oh,
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
he's
I think I
kinda-
do understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
Oh boy.
he wasn't getting any of that around the house, so
Right.
time to make a break
So
for it.
his loins became the motivator maybe for
Exactly.
spreading his.
But I think it'd make a good short story, The Adventures of Cheese, and I just make something up, like what he did for that week. But
Be a rated R maybe.
yeah, well, yeah.
We're depending on cheese, he got pretty cheesy out there. Spreading.
But I actually, despite my earlier story, I like cats. I think cats are amazing. You go to the zoo and you see a lion or a tiger, and that's a cat.
Yeah,
you know what I
that's
mean? Like,
interesting.
it's just cool to think that this little domestic cat you have is related to this
Yeah.
beast, They're not nearly as big, obviously, as a lion or a tiger, but when you look at the way they move and how athletic and they're just amazing creatures,
Yeah, that's true. Have you read or heard that if you live with a cat a lot of your life, that they've done autopsies on people and found that there is a toxin in their brains that they attribute to
Cat poop.
cats? Yeah.
The cat poop, they breathe it in or something, I
Yeah.
think, right? And it makes them more. I've heard that it does something with mice. So the mice will breathe in the stuff, the virus or the toxin in the cat poop, and then it makes that mouse more docile and easier to catch for the cat.
Interesting.
That's-
they also, and you can also, along this line of research, you can go down the black hole and online. You'll see that they don't want pregnant women dealing with cats or, cleaning out
cat litter.
Yeah,
I think
litter.
I heard that too.
Yeah, because of that. So there is an issue with.
I mean, cats are, dude, they're amazing. Like, you look at ancient Egypt and the way that they worshipped cats and stuff like that. They have an interesting history, these cats.
It's really even more interesting how we got started talking. So
Yeah,
much
I know
about
this.
cats. It's
This
pretty
episode
fascinating.
turned into an episode about cats somehow. This was not planned, but
Next episode is around the corner. Yeah, it'll be 2 weeks away, and we get into some more weird stuff. I think that was just enough. I think we had fulfilled our quota of dialogue about cats. This is not a podcast about cats. There might be some podcasts out there that focus on the different facets of cat life. That's not what this one's about. Just probably should say that we don't hate cats. A lot of that you heard was dastardly deeds done dirt cheap to cats, AC/DC. But please know that we don't hate cats. Anyway, we want to let you know that Heroes of Humility is on some social media outlets such as Instagram and Facebook. You can check us out there, see what kind of messages we post, updates about the show. Follow the show on your favorite podcast app so that when it comes out, you can listen to it right away. It would be weird if you had to wait a while. Then you might not be able to discuss it with your friends. And we appreciate our listeners. Thanks for tuning in. Take care. Be cool. Be kind.